Welcome to Unit 1, Section 4, Assessment Techniques. Here we're going to have a general overview of assessments, looking at areas that have stayed the same from your Level 3 and areas that have changed. As a Level 3 sports massage practitioner, you have already been carrying out assessments with your clients. Some of this will be a recap for you and some of it will be new information. You are now looking to expand and develop your assessment skills. When you are dealing with injuries and dysfunctions, you need to look to gain as much in-depth information as you can. This is because you need to have a clearer understanding of what is happening, why it is happening, and what structures are involved. As you're aware, the basic principle of your assessment is SOAP. This gives you a basic guideline to carry out an effective assessment or consultation. SOAP stands for Subjective, Objective, Analysis and Planning. Let's look at each of these in some more detail, starting with the subjective information. This is verbal information you gather. This is what your client tells you and can't be measured. This is exactly the same information you have already been gathering, and you will be using the same sort of questions you did before, but now you need to start developing them to gain further information. As before, start with open-ended questions to gain the general information. Then if you want to get more specific, use close-ended questions to pinpoint information. You will need to delve deeper into the information your client gives you to really get a better understanding of what they are telling you and to try and understand better what is happening. You are then in a better position to be able to treat the issue effectively. As you did in Level 3, always remember to use active listening skills. We then move on to the objective assessment. To give structure to your objective assessment, we use the ARTS principle as a reminder. So that's asymmetry, range of motion or movement, touch and special tests. Here we have some changes to your Level 3 assessment, so let's work our way through this. Asymmetry is your observation of your client's posture and the balance of the body's structures. What you see when you stand back and look at them. This hasn't changed from Level 3, but with experience you should have become more skilled at this. Remember, this starts as soon as you see your client. Next we have range of movement or motion. Here we do have some changes. So in your Level 3 you only ever used active range of movement with your client, so this is the movement that they would create. Now we'll add in passive range of movement and resisted. Active range of movement gives you information about all the structures associated with that movement and should be always carried out first. Next, we would carry out passive range of movement. This is when you move the limb for your client and they have no input. This gives you information primarily on passive structures, but will give you some information on active structures if they're stretched. So if you stretch a specific muscle that's causing a problem, you may get a result there. Passive structures include bones, ligaments, bursas and joint capsules. Finally, we move on to resisted range of movement. This will give you more information about active structures, so the muscles and the tendons. This is an active movement that is carried out by the client, but you offer resistance to that movement. I've created some short lectures specifically on the range of movement, so they've been broken down for you, along with some demonstration videos as well, so you can see how to carry them out. We then move on to touch or palpation. You used this in Level 3 to feel the soft tissues within the assessment, and we still use it for this purpose, but we also use it to assess changes in the tissues as we work, as well as locating bony landmarks, muscles and other structures in the body. Again, you should become more skilled at this with practice. There is a demonstration video looking at palpation and a lecture explaining through the process. So the final part of ARTS is the special test. So before you do ADLs, this was what you did originally in your Level 3. We now do ADLs and special tests. Special tests are tests that help to rule certain things in or out. There is a lot of these tests and we go through a good number of them with you, but there are far more out there. Have a look around, look at various people's videos and see what you can find that works for you. You'll find some that are very, very useful and some that are not so good. Just make sure they're safe. So as part of your special test, you'll still carry out an ADL, exactly the same as you did in your level 3. So that's the objective assessment covered. You are now getting more detailed information from your assessments, and this should lead to a far better analysis of the issue and therefore a much more targeted plan. Moving back to the SOAP principle now, and we're on to A. So this is analysis. This is where you examine all the information you have gained and pull together the salient points. This doesn't change from level 3, you just have far better quality of information to work with. Finally, your plan. So this would cover the treatment of the day, the treatment moving forward, not actually the techniques, but how regularly you'd want to see someone if they needed to see a different discipline as well as yourself, and any rehabilitation self-help for the client. For your treatment on the day, you now have a far wider toolkit to work with. You will be able to mix your existing level 3 skills and your new level 4 skills together, but only if appropriate. Remember, you will always warm up your treatment area first, so we will always start with effleurage and potentially petrissage, except in the case of trigger points, but I'll cover that in trigger points. Just because you have a whole new toolbox of fun tools to work with, it doesn't mean they are the right ones to meet your client's needs. Don't forget your basic tools. You will take your notes in the same manner as before, nothing changes here, and all the same rules apply. The form has changed slightly to allow for the extra information, but the ones you use in normal practice will probably stay the same. That's your basic overview of your client assessment or consultation. We will look at some sections in far greater detail in separate videos. You can now complete the quiz associated with assessment techniques and move on to range of movements.